Hi and welcome to my PlayHouse, and today we are going to be firmware updating two servers, and it's going to be the Lenovo X3650 Model 5 and the Lenovo SR650. We're going to be using the Lenovo XClarity Administrator to firmware update these servers, and that all happens at the computer. Okay, so we have moved to the computer in the living room, where I can at the same time enjoy a nice cold glass of beer, which is something that you can do when you're messing with your own equipment in your home lab. So wouldn't recommend this at work. Okay, so here we are. I am ready to log in on my Lenovo XClarity Administrator, and if you haven't seen my previous videos on this, you should probably go back and check those out, because this is not the starting one of these. The Lenovo XClarity Administrator runs on a virtual machine. It's kind of an appliance thing that you just download from Lenovo, and well, you put it as a virtual machine and you pull it up and you configure it a little bit. I did a video on that, and then you can manage your newer Lenovo servers like the two that we just saw in the data center. So let's log in here. Log in. Yeah, okay. If you remember your login, it goes a lot easier. So you can see that I have 4 servers here, and last time I imported these servers into the Lenovo XClarity Administrator, and if we click here, we will see that we just have some IP numbers, and some of them have some names, but over here we can see the different model it is. And this, to start from the bottom, we have an x3550 Model 4, then we have an x3650 Model 4. Those two will show up in the Lenovo XClarity Administrator, but you can't do much with them. I am not able to firmware update these. I can see some stats and I can see some other stuff, but I can't do the fancy stuff with them. Then we have the x3650 Model 5 that we can do stuff with, and we have the Think System SR650, and that we can do things with as well. And if we check out here, we can actually see the firmware level that they're on right now. Yeah, and it kind of shows this is the X5, what is it? And this is the SR650. Cool. So we need to go make a template for our firmware, and that is located up here under provisioning. So if we do that, we can go over here and we can see that there's a section for firmware over here. And if we just check our repository, we will see that last time we actually did download the newest firmware. It's a couple of weeks ago, so I would probably go and check if there's anything newer. So if we just check here, we can see, what can we see anyway? We can just check the IMM2. We can see that the latest and the greatest on the IMM2 is 5.30. If we check up here on the yeah, they changed the name, so this one is version 3.0 from the 7th of November. Not sure if there's anything newer than that, so let's go check just to be sure. To check if Lenovo has new firmware packages, we can go to Administration and Update Manager. There, and we can see that I last updated on the 21st of December. So let's check if there is something new, and we do that by refresh repository there, and it will go out and it will check if we are up to date. Something new might have arrived. Okay, it did some work, and you can see that the date has changed over here. Now we have actually checked if there was anything new, and there wasn't, which is kind of a shame because it would have been good for the video. But yeah, Lenovo has been on a Christmas break apparently. Probably not. But you can see down here that we downloaded these two. This one has been downloaded. Well, it should say downloaded, but it's just as cleaned up. But we did download it in the last video. So, and I was hoping to download a couple of new ones, just because I was so sure that, well, something would have been updated. But apparently that's not the case. So we'll go with what we got. We downloaded a couple of two of these supplement pack, 2.8 gigabytes, and one is 2.9 gigabytes. So we want to apply those. And if we go over to provisioning again, and we go over in our repository, we can kind of see them there. There is our repository, and we can see that that's for the SR650, and this one is for the Lenovo M and a lot of other models. It kind of sees what server I have, and then it tells me that, well, it will work for that server and that server. And I'm so lucky that I have two different servers. The x3650 Model 5 are part of the System X series, and the SR650 is part of the Think system, the newer ones. And we can kind of see that there is, well, 24 updates available for this, which means that there are multiple older versions available. So if I was using a very old version of the BIOS, well, it would have the BIOSes needed to upgrade to present level. That is kind of cool. So we need to make some new standards. I think I call them templates. I see that they are not called templates, but policies. So we need to make a new policy. So let's do that. So right now we have these assigned to the servers, but they haven't been upgraded really. So let's create some new ones. And okay, so I'm creating a new policy, and I just found a name for it. This is gonna be for the M5, and the description is, well, newest on that date. It's only for me. I have no idea why I should even type anything. So what are we gonna be messing with? We're gonna be messing with the M5. Thank you. And now we have to pick what we want to put into this policy. So we can, let's see, the IMM2 backup. Well, we can pick not to update that, or we can pick an older version. I really like picking a older version so that the primary firmware for the IMM is on the newest version, and then the backup is on a previous version. And I kind of see that this doesn't update very often, so let's put this one on the backup. You can see it says backup here, and then we will put the newest one, which is that one, default, which is already there, on as the primary. Then we're gonna do the same thing with the backup of the UEFI BIOS. Okay, we only have one, so maybe we should just pick don't update, and then this one kind of have the newest one. So that's gonna be what we're gonna do for this time. Then there is the dynamic system analyzing. That's for testing the system, and that's just newest. Thank you. We have some firmware for different controllers, and all of these should be fine. And they're all on the, well, this, I don't have one of those, so that doesn't really matter. There's firmware for all the different cards that you can put in the server. Some of them I have, some of them I don't have. This one down here, I do believe that I have one of those, so it would be that one, so that would be fine. If something else was needed, I could put that in. The Lenovo XClarity Administrator is not really meant for if you just have two servers. It's meant for if you have a whole rack full of servers and you don't want to do this every single time. So we are kind of making a policy that we can throw on 20 servers if that was what we wanted. Sometimes one of those 20 servers will need maintenance, and sometimes it might need a technician to come and visit it and sometimes he changes something and puts in a newer one, then you suddenly have 19 servers with one piece of firmware, and you have one with, it might be a newer firmware, and you want to be notified that that server has other firmware than what the rest of the servers has. And this flag out here can do that. Compliance rules, flag if down leveled. That means that if the driver is older than what the policy says, it will give an alert. But we actually wanted to flag if not matching, because if it's newer than the rest of them, well, it might give us other and different problems. So we'll pick that one. It doesn't matter in my instance where I have just one of these servers, but yeah, just telling you, it seems like I can add devices down here. I don't have any devices to add for them. Let's create this policy, and it pops up right there. It just happens to be exactly like this one, but that's a minor detail. Oh, we did actually change a little bit, and it's created by admin. So we're gonna create one for the other server as well. So let's create a new one. Giving it a name and the same ridiculous description. So we're gonna pick the other server, the SR650. There we are. And we're gonna pick default, and the backup, let's put that down to 2.5 there. And the primary one is gonna be, well, 3.0 is the newest. We just have one firmware. That's gonna be the newest, thank you. And Lenovo XClarity Provisioning Manager, that is for when you boot the server and you can press some F button and you can provision an operating system to the server, and then the server will contain some of the drivers. That is here. Yeah, here are some of the driver packages. That one is for the Windows drivers, Linux drivers, and then we get to, well, there's only those. And then we get to all these network cards, firmware updates for the NVMe drives, all of that I'm sure is absolutely fine. Oh, there's a lot here, right? So let's do the same thing up here. Flag if not exactly match there, and create. So we have created our two new policies, and if we go, well, we have created them. You can kind of see here that they aren't assigned to anything. So if I wanted to make a minor change and do something else with this policy, I can kind of make a copy of it. Yeah, make a copy that does something else. But to assign them to our server, we need to go up to provisioning and then apply and activate here. And we can kind of see that we have our servers here. I should have renamed them to something that make more sense, but right now they are called their IP numbers, which is kind of crap. Okay, so that being crap, I changed it. So right now we can see which server is which server. Right now it's pointing at those two packages that are downloaded from Lenovo, but we can apply our new packages. And well, it's kind of smart. It only shows the package that is compatible with that server, and we just made that one. So that is awesome. And it will check here that the server is not compatible. Awesome. So now we can expand over here, and we can see all the places where this server is out of date with the firmware. So we can see that the XCC is on a 2.7. which we are about to firmware update to a 3.0. We can also see that the backup is on a 2.7 as well, and I'm gonna be downgrading that to 2.5. I could not do that, but for the heck of it, I think we'll do that. And that goes for the UEFI BIOS as well. We're gonna be updating that ever so slightly. Diagnostic software also getting a lift. Linux drivers, Windows drivers. We have this Intel X722 LOM in there. That is gonna be upgraded. Awesome. And we have the rate controller, also an upgrade available for that. Only thing that is not being upgraded is apparently firmware not detected disk drive update program. So yeah, it doesn't see any disks. I don't think there's any disks in it, so that might be why. So yeah, we have applied this policy to this server, and now it becomes a little bit dangerous, because when we tell it to update our server, the server will boot multiple times, will be not in operation. So of course, in the production environment, you have to be very careful not to boot a server in production. People get mad. You don't get the response that you were hoping for. But as I have planned this system window with myself and gotten the change approved by me and overviewed by me, well, let's update this SR650 and see what happens. So we pick it, and then we say over here, perform update, and there, and we get some different options. Kind of see that update rules, continue to next device on error, which is nice because this can take multiple hours. I was testing this at work. I really should have tested this at home, because updating production servers, and it would have been very smart to have tested this at home on my own server, which doesn't really matter that much. But well, I had to update some servers at work. I just hadn't gotten around to this. So yeah, jump to the next device on error. Then we have activation rule. Right now it's set to immediately activate, but we can also pick to delay and prioritize activation, meaning that we can firmware update the server, and then the firmware will be updated and the new firmware will only be activated at the next reboot, which can be okay, but which can also cause problems. If you plan that you want to update the server just next time, but what if there's 14 days in between and the server does something weird and has to be rebooted? Then it might take a long time for it to boot, and that might not be what you want. But if you update it during the day and know that you're gonna reboot the server at night to make sure that this works in the morning, it might be fine. Prioritize update, I am not sure what that means, but I am sure that this will help. Yeah, so you can kind of read what the different activations does. We are just gonna go with the immediate one because it's all fine. So, we can even schedule it if we want it to happen at some specific time. That's awesome. But I do believe that we are ready. So let's just perform the update. And it's just gonna update all the firmware. It's kind of cool. So update in progress. There. We are kind of gonna be doing the same thing with the System X server down here. First we can pick 2% done. First we can pick our new policy here that we just created. That one. It will check and find out that this server is not compliant. We knew that, so we can kind of check and see what firmware is compliant and what is not compliant. We can kind of see that I'm going to be downgrading the IMM here because that is on the newest version. The backup of it, we're going to downgrade that a little bit. Then the Wi-Fi is going to get a tiny step up. The backup, we're not going to update that. It's going to stay on where it's at. Diagnostics, getting a tiny upgrade. Broadcom adapter is getting a tiny step up. And server rate and hard drives. Multiple versions. Okay. Everything is gonna be upgraded on the hard drives. That's awesome. Yeah, let's try and apply that, see what happens. Minimize that, select it, and perform update. Some of the components you have selected do not have a target firmware version. If you elect, it's missing an S here. Select to continue. These components will be excluded devices. It's probably those hard drives. Continue. And we're just gonna do the same thing. Continue to next device on errors, immediately activate, force update, blah 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 blah. Yes, perform update. Now our two servers are updating. It's most likely gonna take a while. I think here on the jobs, we can see that there are two jobs running. We have firmware updates and firmware updates. So 0% and 6%. Yeah, that's gonna take a while. So it hasn't run for very long, but you can kind of see what it's doing. If you expand over here, you can see that, well, right now it's in progress with the XCC primary. It's gonna be upgrading that. So it's transferring XCC primary, and it's at task 2 out of 19 on the SR650. If we go down to the x3650 model 5, we can see that it skipped the primary IMM2 skip, already compliant. It knows that it doesn't have to do anything with that, but we have even more information out here. Not anything important though. It has queued the other things, but it has diagnostics in progress, and it's transferring diagnostics 26%, and it's at task 3 out of 15 on this server. And up under jobs and all jobs, we can kind of see that I started this 2042. I started this task at that time, and well, the other one a couple of minutes earlier. So yeah, we can kind of keep track of how long this is gonna take. I have found that these percents, they can be very dodgy. So even though this one is 22% done, well, it might still be hours away from completion. I updated 3 servers at work, and each of those servers took approximately 5 hours to update from an older version. Oh, it was about a year old, and to current date. Okay, so we're just about an hour into this. Oh, actually only 50 minutes, but still it's going rather well, I must say. 94% done here and 91% done here. Cool. If you haven't joined me over at Twitter already, I just tweeted out that I was doing this, and also that I was actually enjoying a good beer at the same time. So Friday night I'm on Twitter, so if you want to say something or just want to keep up with what I'm up to, Twitter is often the place where I post the most. I actually did share this on Facebook as well, so there is also Facebook. Yeah, this is going rather well. We'll be right back when this is completed. Let's just see what are we doing right now. We have a failure here. It was not able to downgrade. No, it was supposed to upgrade our UEFI. That failed. We'll have to try that again. That's kind of a critical one, isn't it? Success, cancel. So right now it's finalizing. So maybe we have to run this once more. So maybe it didn't go as fast as planned. So let's see the new server. That is rather successful, right? Success. And it's initializing, finalizing. That should be done in a little bit. Okay, we can kind of see here that, well, we'll have to expand that. You can see that our x3650 completed at 21:25, and that one was started. Oh, that's outside of here. Let's get some more results. That was started about here, 2040. So a little bit under an hour. So let's go back here. We can see that the SR650 is now compliant, and this means that all the firmware is as we wanted it to be. So except the disks which are not in there and therefore are not detected. Check the other one. That one has failed. That's a bummer. So let's check that. It skipped the firmware. It had that. It cancelled the downgrading. It failed the UEFI. Then there was a success on the diagnostics. Weehee! And it cancelled the rest of them. I think we'll just start that again and see what happens the second time, if it gets any more of them. Minimize that. Let's pick it and firmware update and continue. See what happens. And we're gonna do the same thing. Continue to the next if error perform update. And it's started. And we're done. And I am almost out of beer. So yeah, the bottle is empty. And in the meanwhile, I have been replying to Twitter. We have been having a little conversation here. The x3650 Model 5 has completed all the updates and is now compliant. The only thing that is blue is this Wi-Fi backup, which was not updated, which we told it not to update. So we're all good. Cool. Drink out. So who says that we men can't multitask? I updated 2 servers and I was live on Twitter and on Facebook the entire time. So yeah, this was really cool, wasn't it? Like, it took an hour, well, 2 hours, 2 servers updated, and I didn't, well, that x3650 Model 5 had to had a second go at it, but otherwise it was just next finished, and well, that one had to try again. So awesome. If you're a patron of mine, I would very much encourage you to go check out the Patreon videos that I make for you every week. I can see that you're skipping. Why? So yeah, Patreon videos. I usually do an extra little video for my patrons every week. It's much like the first video of the new year, where I do a walk around of the house, except on Patreon it's just what did I do this last week. It's one take, no edit, uncut, kind of ish. Thank you very much for watching my videos. Do subscribe to my channel so that you can see me again, and have a really nice day. Bye bye.